17 events taking place in 13 different countries, including Japan and South Africa. 35 teams and 80 international top riders. We're in Belgium, and the greens and blues of Limburg are the backdrop for the first round of the 2005 Motocross World Championship. On Saturday, under magnificent springtime sunshine and with ideal track conditions, it took Michael Rocket Pichon only 2 laps to put everybody else behind him during the season's first time practice. Behind him, 2 KTMs, those of Steve Raymond and of newcomer Ben Townley, reigning MX2 champion. Stefan Everts came in only in 9th place. Sunday welcomes the riders with a sunny spring day and temperatures over 22 degrees Celsius. Perfect conditions on the track. Over 20,500 passionate fans are present. First to take the lead's Kevin Streebos on number 24, followed by Michael Pichon on number 2. Finnish rider Jussi Vehviläinen on number 35 is wiped out on the straightaway. Pichon is overtaking in a rush Streebos on 24. It's also been a bad start for Claudio Federici on number 99, the rider from Rome, who's forced to drop out almost immediately. Behind the leaders, there's stealthy battle going on. Rider Stefan Everts on number 72, riding his 80th Grand Prix race, steering in 5th place. Belgian rider who didn't shine on Saturday is showing much better form today, and he challenges and wins 4th position. Riding on number 72 overtakes Streebos on number 24, who will slip back now and take 3rd position. Number 2, Pichon remains in the lead. Ben Townley on number 30, who's not at all intimidated up here in the big boys class, is 2nd, but he's 6 seconds behind Pichon. New Zealander Joshua Coppens on number 5 is challenging Streebos on number 24 for 4th place. The Honda rider who wins out over the Suzuki. Townley on number 30 is running 2nd, but Everts on number 72 makes a push. And Everts goes through and overtakes him. Everts now in 2nd place, but Pichon, number 2, remains well in the lead by about 7 seconds at this point. Townley on number 30 appears to be suffering from fatigue at this point. The Everts team believe he can make up some ground. In fact, the Belgian rider, 7 times world champion, is making up ground with a faster lap than his rival. Everts on number 72 is beginning to see Pichon in his sights. And the 2 riders are now very close. Now a key moment of this first race, and what an incredible battle between these two riders. Absolutely neck and neck at this point in the race. Finally, Everts takes aim and overtakes, and he's away and through. Townley, meantime, on number 30, maintains his third position. It's Steve Raymond on number 11 who's fallen. He's down, trying to get back in the running. Townley, encouraged by Everts. Overtaking also starts gaining on Pichon, who seems to be tiring. Van Dale on number 75 is also down. Townley catches up with Pichon and aggressively chases the French rider, but during full attack mode, Townley falls, restarts, but by now the vice world champion is well ahead again. Meantime, Ken de Dijker on number 9 is looking to profit from Townley's fall. He's got to look out for a challenge from Joel Smits on number 3, who's returned to grand form after the reconstruction of his knee ligaments. In the final lap now, Everts on number 72 is solidly in the lead, and first position on the podium must be his. A lucky second will be Pichon on number 2, and Townley on number 30 will come home third. Everts takes the checkered flag. They're off and racing. Coming into the first corner, it's Joel Smits on number 3 who takes the whole shot. Just behind him, it's Pichon, number 2, and Stribos, number 24. He's followed by the Japanese rider Astuta on number 10. Everts is 7th running. Everts, the 7 times world champion, is pushing his way back up. He's up into 5th place now. Ben Townley's currently running 7th. Federici on number 99 is running better now after having problems in the first lap. The rider for the Ducati team is having a great race against Steve Raymond on number 11, who was placed number 4 in the World Championship in 2004. The 4th position, it's still Everts on number 72. He's in his nth duel with Stribos on number 24. Everts gets the best line and passes to go through into 4th place. Looks like Steve Raymond on number 11 has problems. He's stopped. Pichon, meantime, has no problems maintaining his 2nd position. Behind him is a highly determined Jonathan Barragan on number 43. Spanish rider who had a fall in the first race. Townley on number 30 attacks Stribos on number 24. Pressure's on and he manages to get through. Townley passing Stribos on number 24. Now he's in 6th position. We'll be battling with de Dijker on number 9. Townley on number 30 and de Dijker are having a real neck-and-neck battle at this point. as we see here, they'll be chopping and changing, one going through to pass the other and then vice versa, each occasionally getting the better of the other one. But it will finally be Townley on number 30 who will finally get the best of this duel and will go through into 5th position. And just ahead of them is Stefan Everts on number 72. In the lead at the moment, it's still Smets on number 3. He's running a very determined race. Followed by Michael Pichon, number 2, is seeking to unseat the leader by any means if he possibly can, but the Belgian rider is resisting very well. A good bit of distance between them. It looks like the status quo is going to remain right through until the end of this race. Townley running in 5th position on number 30. Everts on number 72, running 4th at the moment. Barragan on number 43 looks like he may have a chance of obtaining a more than respectable result. No problem either for Smets on number 3, the 36-year-old rider from Belgium. 4 times world champion in 500cc and 3 times on the podium at the Motocross of Nations. The competition's really reaching a crescendo with Everts and Barragan battling for 3rd position. Following Everts' first place on the podium in the first race, he needs at least a podium finish in the second race to be able to carry off the overall winner's title for this Grand Prix. Everts is forcing the pace, and the Spanish rider throws in the towel. It's the final and triumphal lap for Smets on number 3. Second place will go to Pichon, number 2, and 3rd place will be taken by Stefan Everts. Everts making it to 3rd place on the podium, thus takes the overall victory for this first Grand Prix of 2005. Motocross World Championship arrives in Spain, in Catalonia, in Belpuy. Another pole position for Michael Pichon, number 2, who arrives first at the starting grid and chooses the best trajectory. "15 seconds before the start, the rumble of the engines rises, as does the tension for this second appointment in the World Championship. And they're off and running. And from this compact group emerges Jorgensen on number 8, Smets number 3, the world champion Everts on 72, Pichon and Pascal Leuret. French rider Antoine Millot is unlucky. He's gone for a fall. Getting very hot for the first position, but Everts will go through and take the lead. Jorgensen on number 8 will be just behind him. Pichon is in 4th place. He's attacking. A close shave though for Smets. And Pichon, who touched when meeting a curve in the descent. Smets comes out worse. Pichon and his Honda move into the third place. Here are the positions after 2 laps. Everts in the lead in front of Jorgensen, Pichon, Smets, Loret, and the English Huckelbridge. Townley is in 8th place. It's going to be bad luck for Everts. During the 3rd lap, Everts goes for a very heavy fall and slides back into 8th place because of that. Pichon is in slick form after overtaking Jorgensen, taking a lead in the race that he manages to hang on to right till the end. Bad fall has demoralized Everts, who tries to catch up. He overtakes the Spanish Bernandez, who has a very good session in yesterday's trials, and he was fastest of the team's 3 riders. Pichon already has a 4-second advantage over Jorgensen, who's ahead of Townley on number 30. Smets falls, and Everts passes him. Everts, in an attempt to get into 5th place, is engaged in a battle with Huckelbridge on number 29, and he comes out the best. Everts on 72 is now charging in the pursuit of the French rider Pascal Loret on number 47, trying to gain 4th position. Everts is comes through and gets to 4th. Pichon is always in the lead. This is not really Everts' race. He falls again and loses all of the ground he made up. After getting back on, he finds himself again behind Smets. Smets and Everts are both fighting over a position they rarely find themselves in, 11th position. Townley on number 30 after a good show at Zolder is also looking good today and is running 3rd. The KTM rider challenges Jorgensen for 2nd place, and at this point of the race, Pichon is more than 12 seconds ahead of them. Pichon alone in the lead in the first race. 2nd is Jorgensen, the Danish Yamaha rider on number 8. In the 13th lap, Jorgensen falls and Townley is in 2nd place. Jorgensen's not giving up. The Danish rider throws away his goggles and gets back into the chase after Townley on number 30. At this point, Jorgensen without glasses has to look behind him at the return of Joshua Coppens, who's come up very well from 10th place and looks like aiming to get through into 3rd place. A bad day also for KTM's Spanish rider Barragan, who had a great 2nd race at Zolder, but now has to pull out on his home track. Pichon remains solidly in the lead for this French rider after a very positive Saturday. Sunday's also looking pretty good. In the meantime, Townley is in 2nd place, but over 20 seconds behind Pichon, and his lead over 3rd place is 11 seconds. The challenge for 3rd place continues right to the last lap. Jorgensen seems to have held out the ground to take 3rd place on the podium. Pichon wins his first race of this season after his 2 second places at Zolder. Everts is 8th ahead of Smets. Ahead of them are Raymond 5th and Noble 6th. The 15-second countdown for this last race of the day in this Telefonica Movistar Grand Prix of Spain. We're at the crucial moment. And they're off and racing. Coming into this first corner, there's a big pile-up at the start of the race, and in the pile of bikes and riders we can recognize Jorgensen, Protagonist of the first race, Federici, Cooper, Vavelin, Crockard, Noble and Mio. In the meantime, Coppens on number 5 is in the lead. Here Mio, the French rider on Husqvarna. In the lead is Joshua Coppens ahead of Smets on number 3, Everts 72. Home rider Alvaro Lozano on number 51, Pichon. And the other Spanish rider, Garcia Vico, in a super comeback at the end of this week. Pichon passes Lozano. Jorgensen's the rider who, in the fall at the beginning, came out worse. He's very disappointed at the way he's finished his day. Coppens maintains his lead, followed by Smets, who probably dreams of having a second race similar to that at Zolder. The KTM rider Raymond overtakes Everts and goes through into third position. Behind them is Pichon. It's a flashback of the images from the first 5 seconds of this second exciting race. Pichon overtakes Everts and fourth place is his. Townley also challenges the Spanish rider Lozano. He's overtaken and falls back to 6th place. Everts is not digesting the fact of being overtaken by Pichon, seeks immediately to do the same and challenges hard. Everts goes through in his turn, overtaking Pichon, and is in 4th position. Raymond, the Belgian KTM rider on number 11, is 3rd since the second lap. Everts on 72, who's now away from Pichon, is on his case. Townley is catching up on Pichon, who appears to be tired but manages to resist. Lozano, who's had a good race, is 7th at this point. Everts successfully concludes his challenge on Raymond, overtakes, and 3rd place is all his. Coppens falls, leaving the way free for his challengers, and is also overtaken by Townley, who previously did the same with Pichon and is now 6th. First at Smets, the old lion of Suzuki. Behind him, the current world champion, Stefan Everts. Townley on number 30 following is at the moment the potential winner overall of the Grand Prix. Coppens seeks a comeback and he overtakes Raymond, conquering 4th place. Always in 6th place, it's Pichon number 2. There's almost 7 seconds between Smets and Everts in 2nd place. De Dijker on number 9 stops, he's out of the running. Lozano on number 51's also fallen out. The home pilot, it's a sorry incident after a good race. Coppens is going crazy. He's looking to gain on Townley on number 30. Everts at this point is not pushing too hard forward and seeks to maintain his second position. Townley's running third, but he's well behind Stefan. Smets rides towards victory, his second this year, after his second round win at Zolder. Smets wins and celebrates. For this Suzuki rider, this good early season showing is an important result. Second, Everts on number 72. Third, Townley, who with this placing wins his first Grand Prix in MX1. The boy is to be taken seriously.
We are in Portugal. For its third round, the Motocross World Championship arrives in Agueda. Pichon is first on the starting grid thanks to his pole position Saturday. The Belgian Kevin Strijbos is absent, victim of an accident during the trials, from which he has suffered a fractured collarbone. A great start. Jussi Velivainen jumps into the lead, followed by Everts, the KTM rider Ramon, and the New Zealander Joshua Coppens. Velivainen and Everts are in the lead, but the Belgian rider seems determined to force the pace and overtake the Finnish Honda rider. Everts takes the lead, a great start for the Yamaha rider after a rather disappointing trial on Saturday. Here we see the world champion in top form. The Belgian Didaika attacks Velivainen, but the Finnish resists and keeps a hold on second place. Smets is 6th, Townley 11th, and Pichon is well behind in 14th. The English rider James Noble falls. Pichon is making up some ground and is now 9th. Behind him, Townley. The Hungarian rider Cornel Nemeth, who had an excellent second round time in the trials, is in 15th position. Mikel Pichon is chasing the KTM rider Ramon to try and gain 8th place. Townley is behind them. Pichon wins out against Ramon, overtakes and is now 8th. Fighting over third place, the Finnish rider of TM Pironen and the French rider of the JK Yamaha Team France, Luigi Segui, who had a bad accident at the beginning of the season. Smets flies into 5th place. A decent race for this Belgian Suzuki rider. Pascal Leray and Manuel Priem are fighting for 6th place. Everts, who danced into the lead from the start, is strengthening his lead over the second place rider, Velivainen. Everts is now around 10 seconds ahead. And here is Jussi Velivainen, the Finnish rider of Honda, who is maintaining his second position. Third is Luigi Segui, very motivated. For him, the season started badly with a serious accident in which he injured 2 vertebrae. He thought of pulling out, but as we can see, he's fully recovered. Manuel Priem, who is in 7th place, is challenged and overtaken by Coppens, the New Zealand rider who had a great start. Ramon hesitates and Smets challenges for ninth position, but Ramon holds him off. In fact, Ramon accelerates, attacks Priem and passes him to take 7th position. Didaika, who has a good race, overtakes Townley, who's not at his best today and falls back into 9th place. Smets, who was 10th, has stopped. His bike has run out of fuel due to a leak. Also, Pichon has stopped. Here we see his bike being taken back towards the paddock. Sergei is going wild to try and take 2nd place and seems to have succeeded. 2 laps from the end and Everts is solidly in the lead with more than a 20-second advantage over Sergei, who in the meantime has overtaken Vevilena. Sergei takes a good 2nd place. Everts wins the race and he led right from the start, even if he wasn't feeling in the best physical shape, thanks to that fall he had at Belpuig. 2nd is Sergei, 3rd Vevilena, 4th Coppins, who recovered well after a fall, 5th Larey, and 6th is Piranen. It's the final race in this programme and perhaps the most awaited. The riders of MX1 are ready to go at the starting grid of this Portuguese track of Agueda. It's Everts in the lead after his victory in the first race. Responding well on his shoulder is Smets, unlucky in the first race. Ben Townley falls. It's not his day today. Pichon really wants to make up for his lack of points in the first race. He attacks and overtakes Smets and pulls away. Also, the New Zealander Coppins follows his example and challenges Smets for 3rd place. It's a great duel between them. Pichon, who went out of the first race due to fuel problems with his Honda, seems absolutely intent on making a comeback and cuts to the chase on Everts and gets him in his sights. It's a head-on battle between the holding world champion and his adversary. Everts resists a challenge from Pichon, but is showing signs of being under pressure. Unexpectedly on a curve, Everts falls. Even Pichon seems surprised, then passes him, as does Smets, Coppins and Ramon. Pichon takes the lead for the first time today after yesterday's invincible performance when he looked as if he owned the leader's position. Everts doesn't look like a rider who'll give up his lead easily. Immediately after falling, he's up and off again, on the attack. And now he has his compatriot KTM rider, Ramon, in his sights. Everts closes the gap significantly and readies to overtake. Ramon isn't successful in defending his place and is overtaken in the 8th lap. And now Everts is 4th. Another close duel is underway for 2nd place between the riders who took advantage of Everts' fall. Smets in 2nd place is fighting off a challenge from Coppins, the Honda rider from New Zealand, who seems intensely concentrated on taking a shot at his older rival. In the first race, Coppins already scored a notable 4th place and is now looking to improve on this. Coppins eventually consolidates and takes on Smets successfully, who can't fight off such a focused challenge. Coppins breaks away. Now also Everts is on Smets' back. The two riders, who have written many a glorious chapter in the history of motocross, are challenging one another again. Now Everts is overtaken and is 3rd. Smets slips back into 4th place, behind him Ramon and a dazzling Cooper. Everts, who is third, seems to have the energy inside to recuperate even at times when all seems lost. He continues his climb back up the field, and having overtaken Smets, he goes for Coppins, who is well ahead. Maybe the gap is too big even for Everts. Smets is fifth, and it doesn't look like he'll be able to make his mark this time as he did in the two previous races. Pichon nimbly leads this race. The bad memory of his stalled engine from the first race seems to have been completely forgotten. His lead over his nearest challenger Coppins is more than 11 seconds. Coppins on his part has a 3-second lead over Everts, and having seen how Everts has come back, it can't be a very reassuring lead. But Coppins is having a flawless ride so far. Everts continues to pursue Coppins. Everts is not in the habit of giving up the ghost. Right behind them is Ramon, who is steady in fourth place. Smets is another 7 seconds behind him. The Belgian KTM rider in the first race had to settle for 9th position, never having been further back than 7th previously. Zaghi falls in a pretty dangerous spot. Everts continues in third place. Even for him, it doesn't look likely that he can overtake Coppins at this point. After 18 laps, Pichon has an unchallenged lead. Second place is Coppins, then Everts, Ramon, Smets and Cooper. The Finnish Honda rider Jussi Velivainen is in 10th place, but thanks to his third place in the first race, is at the moment for this Portuguese Grand Prix on the third step of the podium. Pichon heads into the final lap of this race, in which he has excelled since the Belgian champion Everts saw his chances of winning literally slip away. The French rider Pichon has proved to be a worthy successor to King Stefan. Pichon crosses the finish line of this Portuguese Grand Prix and doesn't hide his satisfaction. Everts is third, winner of the Grand Prix, and is the first to congratulate the winner. So Coppins is second, and behind him Everts, Ramon, then Smets.
Took a really good start. I think it's my best so far. I was really focusing on that in the winter time, because last year my starts weren't that great, and I think it takes good starts to win the championship, especially this year. After that I make a small mistake. Mikael was pushing really much and I just make a small mistake, no touching, it was just my own fault. And yeah, lately I'm going down a few times, last week in Spain a few times, so it's not so good, but anyway, I make a good points leading after the first race.
Wembley is for football, Wimbledon for tennis, Madison Square Gardens for boxing, Monte Carlo for Formula One. Motocross has Namur, the town motocross calls home and where it finds an exclusive stage. We're on the starting grid for this much-awaited first MX1 race at Namur. Pichon is in pole position on number 2, behind him an excellent Noble. And the world champion Everts on 72. This was their positions during Saturday's practice. Good position also for Nemeth on 34, De Decker on number 9, and the Spanish Barragan on 43. 12th is Smets. Just seconds from the start, and just a few moments that gates are going to drop as they just have, and they start under the rain. On the first corner, Jorgensen comes out with the whole shot. ahead of Noble. Van Daal, the young Belgian rider of the Chinere team. Kieran Pichon, who didn't manage to make the best of his pole position. Here's Jorgensen arriving in the lead for the first time at the whoops. Behind him, all the others. The rain's making the track very perilous. One of the first to fall victim to the weather conditions is the Italian Dini on number 27, one of the trickiest parts of the track. Townley on number 30 had a good start, and he's among the top 10. It's a great battle taking place between Smets on number 3 and Raymond on number 11, who we see here on the whoops. Smets on number 3 is indecisive. He resists the challenge on the fast stretch, but taking the trajectory of Raymond overtakes him, and now the KTM is running fourth. Meantime, Brian Jorgensen maintains his lead up front. The Danish rider wearing the same L&M colors as Stefan Everts on number 72. Meantime, back in the box, his action is being closely followed by his girlfriend and all of the team. Here again in action, the Danish rider extremely concentrated and decisive on the ground instead of the most difficult part of the track. Noble, who was second and has been passed by Van Daal. Again, replay of that muddy incident. He manages, however, to regain second place. Here is Noble. Jorgensen on number 8 in action in the woods on his Yamaha. His advantage is more than 17 seconds. Pichon on number 2, who's not shining up until now. He's in 5th position. Third place, Raymond on number 11 is chasing the young Van Daal on number 75. A top battle. No change in position, however, at least for the moment. Also, Everts has a dodgy spell at the bottom of the descent, and it's a long one. The course remains difficult, and so does the apprehension in this part. Here's Pichon, followed by Everts, who's looking for a challenge. Their battle continues in the mud, and in the following lap, Everts lowers his sights and passes with great determination. Pichon seeks revenge in the uphill, but Everts will be gone, and he's running 6th. No problems for Jorgensen. His lead is now more than 20 seconds. Great race for Van Daal, who's conquered second place at the loss of Noble. Third is Raymond on number 11. Once again, in what could now be called the Everts curve, Stefan passes Raymond and takes third place. Yet again, some very aggressive riding by Everts. Problems for Raymond. His engine stopped and his race is compromised. Jorgensen is flying meantime out in the lead. Once again, Everts attacks in the same place, and his target is a tired Van Daal. Now Everts is second. An intrepid Jorgensen is on his last lap. They can't hide their emotion back in the box. Lap that seemed interminable for him, but here he is at the finishing stretch, coming into the whoops for the final time. Jorgensen comes home first and is applauded by his team, who bring home a superb double. Celebration also for Van Daal on number 75, third, an excellent race. Fourth is Pichon in front of Smets and Coppens. Seventh, Townley in front of Noble, who was in second position for a lot of the race.
It's been really tough here in the beginning of the season. I had some start crashes in Portugal. I didn't ride at all, and yesterday it didn't look too good for me. I was 18 in qualifying, 9 seconds off the pace, but I said to the team, I have to pull a magic start, and I really did it in the first moto, and I just rode my own race, tried to stay smooth, and I was riding really smooth, and I pulled away, and I stayed like that. I didn't get too panic or nothing, so I just hit my own lines, and felt really good.
The surprise winner of the first MX1 race, the Dane Jorgensen, seems to be determined to keep up his stunning pace. He gets down low at the starting grid of the second race, goes straight into the lead, encouraged by the amazement of the numerous public here in Namur. Local idol and many times winner Stefan Everts is however close behind, and he doesn't intend to concede any more ground to his teammate. As soon as they're into the midst of the middle of the woods, in fact, Everts launches an attack and Jorgensen reluctantly has to give way to the superior power of the unbeatable champion, who overtakes him and pulls decisively away. Third is Smets, who is soon having to give way to the supercharged New Zealander Townley on number 30. Townley then goes after the Dane Jorgensen on number 8, and he overtakes him as well during the second lap. In the same lap also, Smets gets the better of the Yamaha rider Jorgensen, who's not managed to maintain his rhythm from the first race. As confirmed by the exultation of his many fans, Everts is the undoubted protagonist of this race and increases his lead with confidence against Ben Townley of KTM. Seventh, Pichon seeks to recover ground and is close on the heels of Hungarian Nemeth. The third lap, Jorgensen in fourth place leads the group of followers. Behind him, Mio and always more determined Pichon sixth. He's very soon challenging his compatriot Mio, gaining an important position. Everts is boosted by the flags of his home supporters waving to him as he passes. It's a real and proper ovation for the 8 times world champion that he's given by his fans. Townley, however, doesn't give up the chase and courageously launches a final attack, gaining ground lap after lap. Smets and Pichon have respectively consolidated third and fourth positions. In fifth place is the winner of the first race, the Dane Jorgensen. Seems to have lost his previous shine that took him to victory. For him, however, second position in the Grand Prix is pretty certain. While second and in virtual third is the motivated Ben Townley, who's not letting up and produces an exultant final push. Behind him, Smets and Pichon, 2 great champions, and the gap is closing between them. The French rider and the fastest and unstoppable in this final battle of the race. Final hurdle is overcome by Everts, also author of the fastest lap in 3:01.107 on this very long, interminable and difficult circuit of Namur. Smets and Pichon, the participants of a close battle for third. Far ahead of them is the New Zealander Ben Townley, whose place on the podium seems assured, even though the rain continues to disturb the final phase of the race. Final attack by Pichon on Smets, who's taking a few risks. KTM rider number 30 Townley doesn't give up and continues to close on the race leader Stefan Everts. Last 2 interminable laps up on the up and down circuit of the Citadel of Namur for Everts, who's seated in just 1 lap 3 seconds to his closest pursuer Ben Townley, who has no qualms about making a last-minute final rush on the leader. Just a few hundred meters from the finish line and a flying end to the race for Townley, who makes a small error, giving away the race in a merited triumph to Stefan Everts, who wins the race and the Grand Prix. Townley comes in second, after him Smets and Pichon. In the Grand Prix classification, Everts leads Jorgensen and Townley.
Yeah, it was a hard race, but finally I finished second. And yeah, the second race I knew I had to take a better start, and I did. In the first lap I could pass my teammate Ryan Jorgensen, and from then on I could control the race. Ben, he came a little close on the end. I was slowing down, I also had some lappers, but anyway I managed to stay in front of him and make no mistakes, and I'm so happy that I've won my 7th victory in a row here at the Citadel in Namur. It's such a great feeling.
In the World Championship, Everts consolidates his lead over Pichon. Third is Smets ahead of Coppens. And another New Zealander, Ben Townley, in 5th position. Meantime, Brian Jorgensen finishes in 9th position. In the Constructors' Championship, Yamaha leads ahead of Honda and KTM. This is where the Motocross World Championship stops for its 5th round. It's a cold and soggy day following the rain that fell all night here in Germany for this fifth leg of the World Championship. First to enter the starting grid, the same as last year here, it's Michael Pichon. It's his 15th consecutive pole position, a new record. There's been a lot of anticipation for this meet here at Turchenthal following the spectacular races at Namur last week to see who between Everts and Pichon has the strength and the capacity to pull away. Also strong expectations for Townley, who had an excellent second race at Namur, and Jorgensen, a winner of race 1, without forgetting Coppens, Smets and Raymond. Everything's ready, the green flag, and they're off. A big bunch of riders towards the first curve. A good start for Pichon, who's positioned himself to the far right of the formation. Also good positions for Smets, Pyronen and Coppens. Manuel Priem falls along with 2 other riders. Also Everts falls in this exciting start. He's up again, but his engine's stopped. He's trying to get it going again, but his race has started with a big handicap. Pichon flies into the lead, following yesterday's record for his number of consecutive pole positions. He seems intent to leave his mark also in this race. Second is Smets. At the end of the first lap, the positions are being clearly defined, with a very determined Pichon in the lead, followed by Smets, an excellent Pyronen on his TM. Coppens is 4th ahead of Townley. The British noble Steve Raymond on his KTM, the French rider Mio on his Husqvarna, then Tanner Leok. Everts is riding in 28th position. Pichon's decidedly in the lead, determined to make the most of Everts' misadventure. His advantage over second-placed Smets at this point is already more than 3 seconds. Townley seeks to break the ice and challenges Coppens, seeking to overtake him. But in the contact between them that follows, he comes off worse and remains 5th. Townley persists, however, and immediately has another go at passing Coppens, but is once again unsuccessful, and he still remains in 5th place. While Coppens was fighting off Townley's challenge, he attacked Pyronen, who couldn't effectively oppose the attack from the New Zealander, who overtakes him. Now Coppens is 3rd. The Finnish rider on his TM is also overtaken by Townley on number 30, who profited from Coppens' disruptive action. Pyronen slips back into 5th place. Smets seems quite confident in 2nd place. Now Noble overtakes Pyronen as well, who seems to be tiring from one challenge after another. Noble moves into 5th place. Pyronen is running 6th. Bad luck for Raymond, who's stalled while he was in 8th place and on the attack. Pichon remains solidly in the lead and is riding with supreme confidence. Well, Coppens is stalled and he's overtaken by Townley. Takes hold of 3rd position, a lucky break for the MX2 world champion. He's, however, 16 seconds behind Smets. Pichon's in 1st place, almost 10 seconds his advantage over Smets. Everts on number 72, Tenacious, has moved up the field to 15th position now. Pichon is in the lead on number 2. He's controlling the race. He's lost some ground, though, ahead of Smets, but this is his last lap, so it's no big deal. His team celebrating in the box. Pichon crosses the finish line and wins today's first MX1 race. Behind Pichon is the 4 times world champion Smets, ahead of Townley on number 30. Coppens, who pays for his error some laps ago. An excellent Noble is 5th ahead of Jorgensen and Leok. An excellent crowd of fans here in Germany for a great show. Michael Pichon, the race 1 winner, 2nd in the championship. He's on 170 points at that point. Next to him, the reigning MX2 champion, New Zealander Ben Townley. He's very focused. Right next to them, the 8 times world champion Everts. He was unlucky in race 1. He leads the table on 182 points. His red number plate advertises his leading position. Another New Zealander, the Honda rider Joshua Coppens, always very feisty. He's on 149 points. Just a few seconds before the start, the last adjustments, is the old man, Smets, 36 years old on a Suzuki. He has 5 world titles to his belt, 154 championship points. Everybody's ready for reconfirming or for revenge. Pichon is always at the head of the starting grid, with Everts intending to make up for his halting first race. And they're off and racing. The group flies off the starting line, pushing towards the first curve. Once again, it looks like a good start for Pichon on number 2. But this time, Everts on 72 stays close at hand. Also a good start for Townley on 30. Jorgensen and Raymond pushing ahead. Also Tanner Leon and Coppens on number 5. Straight into the lead for Pichon on number 2, and Everts 72, with the Belgian seeking to immediately challenge, but he touches with Pichon. While following his trajectory, Pichon goes on. Everts has stalled. Everts restarts and overtakes Townley. Also, Jorgensen overtakes Townley, who in the second race looks like a spin force with little attack. Maybe not at his best on this bumpy terrain. Also, Coppens overtakes Townley and gains 4th position. The battle for 3rd place is hotting up between Jorgensen and Coppens, who's challenging. The New Zealander's always a very combative rider. Jorgensen and Coppens are still battling it out and are joined in that battle by Raymond. Raymond on number 11 makes a rush on Coppens, overtakes him, and is now running 4th. After 3 laps, the positions are already clearly defined, with Pichon on number 2 in the lead, ahead of Everts on 72. 3rd running Jorgensen ahead of Raymond and Coppens. 6th is Tanner Leok with Townley behind him. Then it's Luigi Segui. Amongst the top 10 are Noble and Mio. Smets follows in 11th place ahead of De Dijker. Pichon in 1st place has an almost 7 seconds advantage over Everts now. Everts in 2nd place has an 11-second advantage over Raymond, who's overtaken Jorgensen. Now Coppens returns to challenge Jorgensen. He seems to be putting up a determined fight, and for a while it seems that he can hold off the attack. In the end, he has to concede to Coppens, who overtakes and goes into 4th position. Pichon once again solidly in the lead with more than 8 seconds advantage over Everts. Lap time of the French rider is decisively better than that of the Belgian. An excellent duel firing up between De Dijker and Noble over the conquest of 7th place. Noble in the end manages to get past De Dijker and rises up into 7th place. Everts on 72, always second, but now 9 seconds behind the leader. Tanner Leok, who's having a good day, challenges Jorgensen, who seems to be a bit off form today and is overtaken by the Estonian. There's Kawasaki, who's now running 5th. Also De Dijker on number 9. The German Sauholtz team rider overtakes Jorgensen to take 6th place. Pichon maintaining the lead. Here he's in the final lap of the race, triumphant as in the last race. A weekend to frame for the Honda rider, who's about to win this European Grand Prix. He plays up to the crowd, jumping and waving. What a party! He crosses the finish line, and the Grand Prix is his. Second is Everts, a bit unlucky today. Behind him an excellent Raymond on number 11, followed in by Coppens. Also today on top form, and Tanner Leok. Eighth is Smets. 10th place for the Spanish Jonathan Barragan, who's ahead of Van Dale. Only 14th for Ben Townley. What a terrible race for Townley. Pichon thus wins the European Grand Prix. Behind him Coppens and Smets, who's ahead of Stefan Everts.
Yeah, I don't know what to say. Everything went so good today, and I had 2 good starts, and we find some very good setup on the bike. We're always working so hard, during the week, try to get some thinking and to get the thing working better. And I want to first thank all the guys in the team. They work awesome, and like everybody saw, I had very good start, and I think today was really important. Tachental has always been a good place. I won, I think, 2 times in the 250. So it's a track I like, and this weekend I felt strong, and even if Stefan was really strong in the second heat and was pushing really hard, I was able to stay in front, and now I'm a little bit closing the gap in the championship, so it's really good for the future, and hopefully we'll be able to close even more, but it's going to be a long season, and everything is possible, I think.
In the World Championship, Everts remains in the lead. sees his lead against Pichon reduced. Now the difference is 9 points. Third is Smets. In the Constructors' Championship, Yamaha leading, but here also their commanders reduced just 2 points between them and Honda. The Motocross World Championship returns to Japan after 10 years. An important return that takes place in the fantastic Sugo Sportsland, an area of over 2 million square meters, open since 1975, dedicated to motors and sports. Great anticipation for this first race in the MX1 class. The Japanese fans are impatient to see their stars, especially Everts, the most popular, but also Smets, Pichon, and of course all the others. Everything's ready. Moments of tension and concentration before the start. The engine's roar rises. 5 seconds. They're off. A great start by Everts, who gets the whole shot. Behind him his teammate Jorgensen, then Pichon, number 2. Right up behind them, Smets on number 3 on the Suzuki. The English rider Noble, Ben Townley on number 30, Cooper. A good start also for Tebers. In front of the pack, also Raymond and Pascal Leray. There's also Atsuta, who today runs on his home ground, and there's a lot of support for him. Problems straight away for Dodika on number 9. Very good yesterday in qualifying with the second best time. Pichon's attack at Everts doesn't wait long to come. On the mountains, French rider increases the pace right away and drives home his attack on Everts on number 72, who's unable to resist. Pichon is now running first. Everts is second. Everts doesn't give up though. He's trying his utmost to regain the lead of the race. It's a true struggle between the two top riders, but Pichon holds on and actually pulls away a little. In the second lap, there's been a fierce battle for 5th place between Jorgensen on number 8 and James Noble on 15th, as well as Steve Raymond, who's pursuing and attacking vigorously. Raymond, very resolute in this phase of the race, drives home the attack on Jorgensen and passes him flying, pulling away immediately. He's now 6th. Pursuing Everts for the second place. He's really pushing to shorten his gap to the many times world champion. Atsuda's running in 15th place. He's trying to improve his standings. He's battling with Van Dale on 75. He's running for the Chinese team Shinrei, but the Japanese overdoes it and goes off. Pichon is in the lead. He's riding fast, clocking some good lap times after yesterday's umpteenth pole position. He's running an attacking race. His lead over Everts has grown to over 7 seconds. Great fight for 5th place between Smets and Raymond. After a dodgy start, has climbed back several positions to place himself behind his compatriot. Raymond's actions still very tight. He's piling on the pressure on Smets. Finally manages to get past, pulling away decisively and taking quite a good lead. After 15 laps, Pichon leads. Everts is second. Townley is third. Behind them, Joshua Coppens, always a great fighter. 5th is Raymond, in front of Smets. 7th place for Tebers, with a great race for this occasion. Then Jorgensen. He's paying for a mistake. 9th place for Noble. 10th for Dodika. Atsuta is 16th. Well, the gap between Everts and Townley remains roughly the same, around 4 seconds. Everts hasn't given up and is pushing on. Townley is looking for an improbable hunt and pursues doggedly. Pichon's lap times remain the best. His action, though, of course more relaxed, is still unwavering. Everts is running in second place, a result that might be deemed satisfactory by the Belgian rider. Last lap for Pichon, who by now sees the victory in race 1 within his grasp. The Japanese crowd, a very warm crowd, salute him passionately. Pichon flies towards victory. Pichon covers the last few minutes, the last bend. He crosses the finish line and wins. He claims victory in race 1, an important result, the first after 10 years of MX1 absence from Japan. Behind him, Everts, followed by Townley and Coppens. Fifth is Raymond, who in the last laps failed in gaining more positions. Smets is in 6th place in front of Jorgensen. Noble is 9th with a good race to his name. 10th place for De Decker, 11th for Puronen in front of Cooper. Final race in this fine Japanese event on the Sugo circuit. The MX1 riders return to the track to compete in their second race. A very large crowd's provided the backdrop for this competition. The start's imminent, everything's ready. And off they go. It's a mad dash down the starting straight. A good start for Pichon with Everts, Jorgensen, Smets and Coppens. Townley's also kicked off very well. Next to him there's Cooper. Japanese rider Idahara crashes one of the new 2006 Yamahas. A good placing, on the other hand, for the other Japanese, Tsiji, who is in front of De Decker. The main body of the riders follows on. Right from lap 1, the duel that distinguished race 1 flares up again, that between Pichon in the lead and the world champion Stefan Everts on 72. Everts still attacking and Pichon fighting back, but in the high part of the track. The groove catches Pichon off guard and causes him to lose his composure. Everts passes him and he's now in the lead. This is the moment Pichon gets unhinged. Everts seizes the advantage. A fiery Townley sets his sights on Smets for third position. He piles on the pressure and overtakes, but is quickly retaken by a very feisty Smets. Townley passes Smets yet again. This time the New Zealander keeps the position he's gained, although the two are still very close, as is Coppens coming up from behind. Now he's gotten rid of Smets. Townley starts hunting down Pichon, who seems to be within range. Now approaching the end of lap 9, but the Frenchman holds fast and keeps his second place. The battle for the leads now a 3-rider affair. Everts in first place. Pichon, who seems to be slightly tiring. And Ben Townley, who appears to be the most belligerent of the trio. Townley really appears to be on a roll. He doesn't shirk the odd risk, and one of these rewards him by allowing him to pass Pichon. KTM's New Zealand rider is now in second place. Townley rides his bike to the limit and prevails. Pichon is behind. No quarters given in the fight for fourth place between Smets and Coppens, who attacks. A very intense confrontation. The Belgian 5-times world champion holds his ground. Townley, who's literally out of control, is right up Everts' rear wheel and attacking. He looks to have the brawn to overtake the reigning world champion in the next few laps. It's a real roller coaster race. But in the 17th lap, Townley stops dead in full flow. His KTM's engine is packed in, putting him out of the race. What a disappointment for the New Zealand rider, and despair back in the pits. Everts gives a sigh of relief and is able to ride on alone in the lead. With only 2 laps to go, a significant win looking for the Belgian champion. With Townley's demise, Pichon regains an unhoped-for second position. Last few corners for Everts, who has to weave his way through some lapped riders. Here he comes to the last bend and rides under the checkered flag. First in the race and first in the Japanese Grand Prix. In the last lap, Smets has caught Pichon and has reached second place in the race, and the lowest step of the podium. Pichon is third, having faded a little in the closing stages. Then Coppens, who misses the podium by just a whisker. The Englishman Noble is in an excellent 5th place in front of Tanner Leok. De Decker is 7th, An overall positive performance by the Honda Sauholtz team rider. The Japanese Atsuta finishes 9th, and he's acclaimed by the fans. He's the best home rider. Behind them, Thebes, the Frenchman Loré. Jorgensen's only 18th after some bad luck in the early stages. The Japanese Grand Prix standings see Stefan Everts, number 1. He returns to Japan as a victor, having won the last Grand Prix run here in 1995. It's as if time has been standing still. Pichon is second, always one step from the top. Third, an excellent Smets. He's deprived Coppens of the lower step of the podium. The red number plate goes to Everts. He still remains the man to beat.
Yeah, it was an exciting race, but although I had some problems with lap riders, it's still a problem for years. But anyway, the race was really good. We had a big fight with Joel, Mikael and Ben. And it's great to have a good fight here in Japan. You know, it's been a very successful GP. There was a lot of crowd. I'm very happy that I won this GP, especially for Yamaha. It's like their most important day of the year, and I've took the victory here in a great style, and that's amazing. I'm very, very happy for everybody. Thank you.
In the World Championship classification, a small step ahead for Everts, who's increased his lead by 2 points. He's now 11 points separated from Pichon, 251 to 240. Smets and Coppens at 3rd and 4th, with just 1 point between them. 5th, but further back points-wise, is the unlucky Townley, followed by his teammate Raymond. In the Manufacturers League, first Yamaha with 134 points, ahead of Honda with 129 points. Behind them, Suzuki and KTM are separated by 1 point. The Motocross World Championship makes its way back to the old continent, to Great Britain for its 7th round.
You can see the conditions here. Really start to rain. Mikael Pichon, first time this weekend in 16 races that he wasn't on pole position on the Movistar Honda, making sure that his bike is running in perfect order. But there is Ben Townley, the guy who set that blistering pace on the very, very last lap. So Ben Townley from Everts, Pichon, Smets, Didaika, Coppens, the first 6. Ramon there, Danny Tabers on the Suzuki from Belgium, Antoine Mayo on the Husqvarna. Brian Jorgensen didn't qualify. He had a big crash in qualification, knocked himself out. He's seeing stars, so the doctors deemed him unfit to race this weekend. Unfortunately for the Yamaha rider, who took a win in Namur just 2 races ago. So then, as the 5-second board was up, the gate dropped. Ben Townley and Stefan Everts leaning on each other going into the first turn. Garcia Vico there also getting a little bit squirrely as they come into the turn. Bit of carnage. Looked like Josh Coppens got through. But on the floor it's Mikael Pichon, number 2. Second place in the championship, Joel Smets there, number 3. And Ben Townley, the pole position sitter. So a lot of work to do on this tough condition circuit. As you see, the riders come around turn 3. Track really, really gnarly now. Conditions very, very bumpy. The rain coming down. You can see already how physical this circuit is as Paul Cooper goes through there, number 41. Number 12, Christian Burnham, as they drop down into the step down. Oh, mistake there from number 10, Yoshi Atsuta on the Motorvision Suzuki. But then let's look at this slow motion again. As you see, they come off the line. Stefan Everts and Ben Townley leaning on each other as they go into the turn. Maybe that's where the problem was as they got to the turn. There you see Garcia Vico, Pichon's teammate, having to take avoiding action to avoid going down himself. But Ken Didaika at the end of lap 1 is in second position. The young lad from Belgium. Been a revelation in the last few GPs. He's already said in recent interviews that his fitness is not perfect for 2 races, but for 1 race and in sand conditions he can run with the best riders in the world. Well, this is his chance. Oh, James Noble, number 15 on the RWJ Honda. Let's look at that again. Started to get out of shape, and you can see how tough these conditions are. There's one thing you don't want in a race on any kind of lap, and that's a 450 Honda running over you and piling you into the ground just like that. but Noble picked himself up and rejoined the race. But all eyes were on the fight for second position. Ken de Dijker there looking over his shoulder, didn't know which way to look. Steve Ramon really piling on the pressure. But Ben Townley, a blistering start to this race, went down on the first turn and already up into sixth position by lap 3, and chasing down his teammate and housemate Josh Coppins on the CAS Honda. Michael Pichon though, his pace wasn't so fast, only down in 11th place at the same time in the race, but no doubt about it, the man in control, Stefan Everts, 8-time world champion on the L&M Yamaha, number 72, completes another lap. Smooth as you like. In second position, you can see already the gap opening up, 11.4 seconds. Steve Ramon on the factory KTM, and another KTM there in third position. Sorry, not in third position, in fifth position, Ben Townley. Closing the gap, you can see how close this gap is now. And that's exactly how close it is. They might be friends, they may be housemates, but neither rider giving an inch to the other. Oh, Ben Townley, another mistake there as he came over the tabletop. Conditions really, really slippery. Really got to concentrate. So Ben Townley trying everything he can. Looks at the inside. Coppins goes around the outside. And this is the battle for third, fourth and fifth position. Coppins to the outside. Townley up the inside. And there, Antti Purinen in fourth position on the TM machine. Townley goes between the two of them. Didn't quite make it stick though until now. But Purinen, in the later stages of this race, really doesn't have anything in reserve. Ben Townley just went by him. Pichon, a nightmare day for him. Picking himself up for the second time this race. No goggles, but Stefan Everts, keep your goggles on, you're in the front. Vision, not a problem at all. Up on the pegs, really, really smooth. On the step down. A favourite here in Britain. Fox Hills was a good circuit for him in the past. Won every Grand Prix there was there, but Ken de Dijker then in the closing stages couldn't do anything about Ben Townley's move into third position. Moves over for him almost sympathetically, said, come on son, there you go. Stefan Everts, that's how you ride sand, no doubt about it. Already lapping Garcia Vico there on the movie star Honda. You see some riders riding without goggles. There's only really two riders there with goggles, Stefan Everts and Steve Ramon. Ramon, good riding, steady. Michael Pichon, would you believe it? And exactly the same thing happened to him as what happened to James Noble, but this time getting pinned completely under the bike. No goggles, sand in his eyes, not the best way to start the British Grand Prix. So as a two-lap board went out, Stefan Everts there being cheered on by his father, Harry, Mark from Acherbis. You want to win races, you need a team behind you that's going to make you feel good, going to help you win races. And the L&M Yamaha team, Rinaldi Yamaha team, certainly know how to get their guys fired up to win races. Ben Townley, shame for him that he went down on the first turn because his pace was very, very good. Got him up to third position. But on the final lap, this is almost like a demonstration race for Stefan Everts, the 8-time world champion. The crowd really, really loving this. Absolutely effortlessly. As he comes out at the final turn, number 32 there, back marker moves out of the way. Nicola Rinaldi there, team manager of the L&M Yamaha team. All smiles as Stefan Everts takes the checkered flag and victory for race 1. So let's confirm that. Stefan Everts from Ramon, Townley, Coppins, de Dijker, Tybers, Smets and Antti Purinen. They're in 8th position. And they see Michael Pichon in 13th position and a lap down. Riders line up for race 2. 15-second board is up. They're under the starter's orders. 5-second board. The gate drops. A little bit of a twitch there from number 5, Josh Coppins on the CAS Honda, but it doesn't look to do him any harm at all as he climbs into the lead, into turn 1. Carnage running wide down the outside. Number 10, Yoshiatsu to number 29, Mark Hookerbridge, getting caught up in the melee. So as they come around turn 2, it looks like Stefan Everts has grabbed the lead. Crafty, world champion, loads of experience, used all of that knowledge to sneak around the inside, but Coppins there second, Smets third, Pichon 4th. You can already see, last race of the day, this track really starting to cut out now. All sorts of weather conditions today, rain, sunshine, the crowd really loving this. Final race of the day. Steve Ramon there getting held up on the inside, Ben Townley just behind him, so not a great start for Townley as Smets, the 36-year-old 5-time world champion riding the 450 factory Suzuki, storms up the inside of Josh Coppins. Number 18 now, Antti on the TM machine. Not such a great start for him. Started fourth in the first race, getting caught in the second one. Oh, and Coppins loses his leg. Just as he comes around there, that could have ended in tears. Just manages to hold on. If it would have been the last lap of the race, it would have been maybe a different story. But as it was only lap one, still fresh. But Smets trying to keep Everts in his sights. Oh, and he loses the front end. So, Joel Smets, the 5-time world champion, losing the front end, trying to hold on to his fellow countryman, 8-time world champion Stefan Everts on the L&M Yamaha machine. Now he has to chase down the pack and start all over again. Let's have a look at that again. The front wheel was hopping around all over the place. Started to lose control. The front end just dug into the berm, threw the 36-year-old to the ground. But these two picking up where they left off in the first race. Townley, Coppins, number 30, number 5. Coppins, though, forcing his way up the inside. Townley making a mistake. These two really not giving a quarter. These bikes booking and throwing underneath them. Townley, though, gets on the drive, gets on the gas and forces Coppins out to the outside and makes the pass stick. Disappointing day then, this one, race for this one for Pernin in the second race. That TM machine expiring. But Ramon moving his way up through the field, makes some outside move around the outside of Pichon, number 2. Things not really clicking at the British Grand Prix for Michael Pichon this weekend. As they drop down the bottom side of the circuit, we see a slow-mo of this. Ramon comes at the inside. Pichon looks across, said, you know what, I really don't want to play this second race. My head's not with it this weekend. There you go. You move up a position, I'm happy to sit here. The KTM people, look, they're really happy. Tyler Rattray there with the hat in the middle of the picture. Obviously out with an injured knee, but the signs are looking good that he could be back before the end of the season. Pichon, though, as the race went on, came under more pressure from Smets. Everts, a little mistake there, bobbing off the top of that tabletop jump. Set his fastest lap on lap 5, 2 minutes and 2. But as the race went on, 6th position was lost there to Jonathan Barragan, so Michael Pichon really struggling, whether it's bike setup or it's his head. Oh, Stefan Everts in the closing stage of this race, the track getting really, really difficult. Made a mistake, bobbed over the top of the jump and out of the track, so even the world champion can make a mistake sometimes. But Marvin van Daal found a way past Pichon. Next one up, Tano Leog on the 450 Yander Grote, so Pichon now moving back down to 9th position. But the fight for second place was on between Townley and Coppins, and it was Townley that was having the advantage with around 4 laps to go. And as they came over here, Coppins came over the jump, sees his best mate and housemate Townley thrown to the floor. What actually happened was he bounced off the jump, ran wide in the corner, missed his back brake, ran straight on into the corner, couldn't stop. There's really nothing he could do about it. The front end got sucked up into the berm. Townley and Coppins was through. Ramon having a difficult second race, looking so good from earlier on. The KTM personnel there, their faces looking in disbelief as Ramon rolls back onto the circuit. Obviously couldn't start it with a kickstart, has to bump start instead. And losing a few places in the process, dropping him down to 9th place. 2 laps to go. The style of the 8-time world champion on the L&M Rinaldi Yamaha machine. Number 72 on the red plate, leading the championship. Number 72, of course, the year that Stefan Everts was born. Makes him 32. Doesn't turn till September, his 33rd birthday. Pulls the roll off, whips it to the crowd. The British public love him. He loves Britain. 50 points in the bag. Yamaha can't believe it. They're ecstatic. They came here with an 11-point lead. They go away with 40 points over Michael Pichon, who's second in the championship. So let's clarify. Stefan Everts from Coppins, Smets. Jonathan Barragan, great ride for him in 4th position. Townley eventually ended up in 5th. Steve Ramon managed to get back to 9th after that fall. And as the riders stand on the podium, Stefan Everts there, beaming with delight as Neil Hellings, head of the ACU, Chief Executive Officer, hands him his silverware. Alongside him, Josh Coppins in 2nd, Ben Talley in 3rd, as Wolfgang Schrub, President of the FIM, and Stefan Everts, the red plate that signifies he still leads the championship. Luigi Zompetti there, handing the award to the manager of the Rinaldi Yamaha team. So then, Stefan Everts walks away with 50 points. But was it as easy as it looked? Here's what he had to say.
Well, second moto was more tougher. The first one I could cruise and just ride normal speed, and still I was going faster than the other riders. So I don't know what was happening. The second race I had to push a little harder in the beginning, but then it was the second race, and I started to feel a little bit. The track was getting very bumpy and heavy, but in general I had a good GP. I was looking forward to do a double victory, and finally I did it. You know, I tried for many GPs, and I'm so happy I've done it today here at Matcham Park. So I'm very happy. I want to thank the team and all my sponsors, my fans, everybody else. Thank you, and see you next week in Italy.
So then, let's look at the World Championship standings. Stefan Everts, 40 points clear now above Mikael Pichon in second. Josh Coppins there on 243 in third position. Brian Jorgensen on 121 didn't score today, knocked himself out in qualification on Saturday and was deemed unfit to ride. Well, they may have a 40-point advantage in the Riders' Championship, but Yamaha only have an 8-point advantage over Honda, and KTM sit there in third position.
For its 8th round, the Motocross World Championship arrives in Italy. The senior class makes its stage entrance, and there's huge enthusiasm among the Italian fans, who find one of their favorites in the topmost starting line positions, Claudio Federici, who, after a troubled seasonal start with physical complaints and having even crashed yesterday during practice, has finally shown all his class, achieving an excellent third practice time. In front of him onto the gate, there's the regular Mikael Pichon on number 2, who, after the British interlude, has gone back to laying down the law in the time practice. Right after him, the New Zealand rider Joshua Coppins on number 5, the Honda. He's confirmed his spell of excellence during yesterday's practice. All the riders have taken their place on the starting gate and are making their last-minute preparations. A handful of seconds, tension and anticipation rise. And they're off, and the pack tackles the slope towards that first right bend. Brian Jorgensen on number 8 is very quick into the first jump in front of Smets Raymond, the young French driver Pascal Leray, and the reigning MX2 world champion Ben Townley on number 30. A bad start for both Stefan Everts and Pichon, who are swamped back in the middle of the pack. Claudio Federici on number 99, third best time yesterday, is in the leading section of the field. The pack winds its way past one of the early bends. When the first lap's over, Jorgensen on number 8 is in the lead in front of Smets. The young Frenchman Leray, very lively in these early stages. Townley on number 30, Raymond, Joshua Coppins and Everts, who within the space of a lap has climbed up 6 places. Pichon, after a bad start, also in pursuit, but he's only 19th. Leaders ride on in single file. Jorgensen leads over Smets and Leray, but the rest of the field is close on their heels. It's a very open race. Here's Jorgensen in front of Smets. At the start of the third lap, Townley on number 30, determined not to lose sight of the leaders, attacks Leray, a totally private rider on a Honda. He passes him and goes through to third place. Behind the leaders, the fight for 5th place is between Raymond, Everts and Coppins. Eventually, Everts has the upper hand and holds on to 5th place until the end of the race. Danish rider Brian Jorgensen, Everts' teammate in the L&M team and a brilliant winner of one of this year's Namur races, leads this early stage of the race. Pichon is very fast and his lap times are lower than those of the leaders. Honda Martin team French rider is in hot pursuit. He's now running 9th. Ben Townley, who's past Smets, is resolutely closing in on Jorgensen. The two riders begin a very fiery skirmish at a distance. The New Zealander MX2 world champions' lap times are lower than the Danes, and the gap between them shrinks considerably. The stage is set for a real struggle for supremacy. In fact, it's in the 9th lap that Townley crowns his efforts and catches up with Jorgensen. He digs in the spurs and manages to overtake the Dane. Townley's actions unwavering and succeeds. The New Zealander is now through into the lead. Celebrations in KTM's box. Is Valentina, the team coordinator. Pichon's pursuit has stalled. He remains in 9th place for a while. Also because he's come across a gritty Joshua Coppens in 8th place. Then Pichon gets through. Here's the Frenchman's action. He's got to give chase just like he did at Matcham Park. Pichon's pursuit has brought him onto the back of Barragan, who's running 6th. He still follows Stefan Everts. Trio carries on in the same order, with Pichon having a go at attacking Barragan. Coppens is also not far off. On the 15th lap, the unexpected happens. Pichon stops. He's got problems. He manages to start again, but heads straight away into his box. The pursuit and the race are over for him. Jorgensen in the lead after a slip by Townley. Feelings run high at the box for the Danish rider's performance. Townley has by no means given up the ghost, and he shows it. He's piling on the pressure on Smets, attacking, and with no further ado passes him, now getting through into 2nd place. A very dogged action by the New Zealand rider at the expense of Smets. After being overtaken by Townley 5 times, world champion Smets slips. He doesn't sustain any damage though. Leuret seizes his chance, and it's a field day for him. Just 2 laps to go, and the struggle for victory is still all to be decided. Jorgensen on number 8, still holding onto the lead, and occasionally seems able to pull away from Townley, who's on the attack. In some passages, the fight gets very hot though. The 2 leading riders even coming into contact. Neither is willing to relinquish victory in this race. Jorgensen fending off Townley, who's attacking. They keep coming. Victory is by now the exclusive preserve of these 2 riders. Different trajectories, but no change in the placement. They're in the final lap. Undoubtedly a very intense lap for all riders, teams, and spectators. Jorgensen holds on to the lead and closes the door on Townley. The Dane seems to have the race all wrapped up. But with only a few bends left just before the finish line, Jorgensen slows down after a jump. An almost incredulous Townley passes him. It's party time for KTM. Townley leads the race. Jorgensen on his fading bike follows slowly. Disappointment back in the box. Townley goes on to win. He waves. A last gasp victor for him. Behind him, the unlucky Jorgensen. Frenchman Leuret follows. Young private rider who's today run an unforgettable race. Then Smets leading over Everts and Coppens. A very good Barragan is 7th in front of Luigi Seguin. Federici, the home rider, finishes 10th in front of the TM rider Pyronen. Final race in this beautiful sporting day at the Gioiella track in Castiglione del Lago. Wonderful crowd. The riders enter into the gate. Michael Pichon's missing. He injured his wrist during race 1. All the others are there. Even the Belgian Kevin Stribos returning after a long absence. Last touches for the riders waiting for the starting grid to be complete. 5 seconds. The track's clear. The engine's roar rises. The gate goes down and off they go. A headlong rush towards the first turn. They bank to the right. Smets has taken the whole shot. Then Jorgensen. A very wide trajectory by some riders who get close to the pit lane. Jorgensen on number 8 leading. Then Smets on number 3. Then once more the enfant terrible Pascal Leuret on number 47. Garcia Vico. Everts is among the leaders, as is Coppens. Townley turns wide. Then all the others. What an exciting start. Jorgensen on number 8 gains a little over Smets, and Townley, who seems to be very determined, passes Smets. He's in pursuit of Jorgensen. At the end of lap 2, Townley snatched the lead from Jorgensen, and Everts, who in turn has overtaken Smets. Today's revelation, Leuret is 5th. Coppens on number 5, who clocked the 2nd best time in yesterday's practice, follows in front of the Spaniards Jonathan Barragan and Garcia Vico. The Italian Federici's 9th, a positive weekend for him. All considered, behind him are the Estonian Tanel Liok and TM's Finn Pyronen. Everts is on teammates Jorgensen's tail. After a jump, he drives home his attack and overtakes him, braking inside the turn. Now he's running second. Smets on number 3 also rushes past Jorgensen, who seems to be slightly overwhelmed. Smets is now running third. We're at the beginning of the 5th lap, and there's a tussle going on for 6th place between Coppens on number 5 and Leray 47. The two are fighting it out shoulder to shoulder. On the finishing tabletop, Leray looks at Coppens and on the following jump gives way. Townley's in the lead after a patchy start to the championship. A fine Sunday for KTM's New Zealander. A very fine Sunday. His advantage over Everts is of almost 4 seconds. Everts in pursuit. The gap is quite substantial, but there's no impossible feat there for the King Stefan. No less because with Pichon out of the race, he can afford to relax. Smets is third. One more test of character from the multi-titled Belgian champion, who's almost 3 seconds behind Everts. Having shaken off Leray, Coppens has set his sights on Jorgensen to dispute the 5th place. He's now right on his back, driving home his challenge. He takes the inside of the track and passes to go through. Here's the action that gives Coppens 5th position. Everts with a very consistent action, as is what is closing in on Townley. His lap times are better than those of KTM's New Zealander. And you can bet within a few laps there'll be a real battle between these two riders. Very different with their styles, as they are in their ages as well. Everts now very close. He extends his jump and gains a few meters over Townley. He secures the inside of the track and takes him very elegantly. What a great maneuver. He opens the throttle and pulls away. The King is in the lead. Here's his action that will go down in the annals of motocross. Federici, after his excellent 3rd practice time yesterday, is 11th, spurred on by the crowd, and is fighting for 10th place with Noble, who leads him, and Nemeth on number 34. Everts in the lead, but unable to shake off Townley, who isn't quite breathing down his neck, but is nevertheless in a position to threaten Everts. Smets holds a 3rd place that would allow him to climb onto the 3rd step of the podium. Riding style very dynamic and elegant this weekend. Townley, after a lull, has resumed his increasing pace and is once more onto Everts. He's now very close again. An uneasy final stretch of the race for Everts. 2 laps to go. Townley is virtually the winner of the Italian Grand Prix, but seems not to be contented and starts putting pressure on Everts. 1 lap to go and everything seems to be wrapped up, but impeded by a lapped rider. Everts makes a mistake. Even kings can make mistakes. A misjudged trajectory and victory is snatched away from him. Townley, having once more been the beneficiary of a miracle, flies towards the finish line. No more problems for him. He joyfully acknowledges to the crowd who has spurred him on during this pursuit. Last few bends for him, the end straight. He does a wheelie. Party time at the box. And the checkered flag for Townley, who stops on the tabletop to greet the spectators. What a delight for this double win in the Italian Grand Prix. Behind him, Everts, who paid his mistake dearly. Smets, an excellent Barrigan, leading from Coppens and Jorgensen, slightly subdued in his 2nd race. 7th place goes to Leray. In the Italian Grand Prix table, Ben Townley is on the highest podium step with 2 wins. Everts is 2nd with a 5th and a 2nd place. Then there's Smets in 3rd. The old guard meets the new on the Italian podium. Young Townley, the herald of the ultra-modern motocross, stands beside 2 old-world motocross lions. Everts and Smets, they're a true motocross encyclopedia between them.
It was really a good day. It was amazing to win both races. Is really cool. And I want to first say hi to Mum and Dad. They're watching this live in New Zealand for the first time ever, so hope you enjoyed that. And you know, it was great. I took 2 good starts and I was able to get into the lead of both races, and I pretty much controlled them. Although you know, Stefan was unlucky, I guess, in the last lap, but I was putting the pressure on, and yeah, it was a great day.
On the championship table, Everts decisively extends his lead. At this point, it's difficult to imagine that the final victory won't be his. Smets is 2nd. but has a gap of over 60 points. Coppen's 2 points behind him. Pichon is stationary at 261 and is in 4th.